So I got a question for you. You know, there's a lot of talk about this culture thing. Different people have different culture. But I have a question. Why would people in your government bring over a bunch of people from a culture, and that particular culture believes it is acceptable to have relations with children? In Afghanistan, the women don't have any rights in Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, you can practically just take you any bride you want, but there's no consequences. The Taliban law works and Sharia law works. Why would a civilized Western society, thinking that you can bring a bunch of Afghans, Somalians, Pakistanians to your country and expect these people to assimilate to your country? I mean, the case they had down in Minneapolis, when he went in the backyard and took a 12-year-old, the defense argument was, in their culture, this is acceptable. So why would you bring this animal over here then? Because they're not in their culture. Why would anybody think it's a good idea to bring somebody over that is okay to, just think about that. It's acceptable in their culture to go just take a 12-year-old and have your way with them. In their culture, that's acceptable. And you filthy communist liberals are arguing about Islamophobia or some other ridiculous argument about the migrants. They don't want brown people over here. Well, no, we don't want brown people or black people or white people that has a culture that's acceptable to have any relations with a minor. Because as far as I'm concerned, there is no consent with a damn minor. You said the 12-year-old, the 11-year-old, the 9-year-old consent. No, that's why we don't allow children to buy alcohol. Well, allegedly we don't. That's why they have to, don't get the driver's license to a certain age, or they can't buy cigarettes to a certain age, because they're not equipped or ready for adulthood. But your filthy government, many of government, it ain't just, the Biden administration just was extremely insane. But there's many other ones who thought it was, Lindsey Graham thinks it's okay to bring a bunch of Afghans over here. And you get surprised when the crime rate goes up because you're bringing a bunch of savages to your country. Why would you think that's acceptable? I want a real answer with these damn liberals. You think that bringing people over, and matter of fact, ask one of your friends, your liberal friends. I don't have any liberal friends. Ask one of your liberal friends this. Is it okay for a grown man to just take a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and have his way with him? Do you believe there's a consent on that? Because I would like to know their answer. Because you have to be completely outside your mind or just a satanic being to think that that's acceptable. But your government knows these people are like this. Matter of fact, when the military was in Afghanistan for 20 years, there's many stories of them raping boys and girls. And they say, you're not over here, the police, just let them do their thing because it's their culture. What do you think about that? Do you think that that should be allowed to come into your damn country? Would you put a bunch of rattlesnakes in your home? Would you allow wild animals to play on the school ground with the children? Because technically what you're doing is bringing a bunch of people and telling me it's their culture, and we're supposed to respect their culture, but I don't. Hell no, I don't respect their culture. I wouldn't give a rat's behind about their culture. I'm not interested in learning their culture. Because any grown man trying to have relations with a little kid, it's something sick about him. And anybody's justifying or bringing over the animals is something sick about them too. We bring over a bunch of foreigners from third world countries and expect your country not to be turned into a third world country. You got to be a little stupid your damn self. And these liberals, they get themselves all worked up. It's discriminating against the migrants. Invite them to your house, bastard. Hell is wrong with you? That's the problem we have. Everybody's too nice. I'm not tolerant of it. I'm just not. I don't try to pretend to be tolerant of anybody who wants to have relations with children. But why would your government bring them over unless they hate you? They don't have just a little disdain for you. Damn it, they hate you. Anybody doing these types of things has complete hate for you. I don't understand the mindset of people who think that this type of actions is acceptable, because it's not. There's nothing you're going to be able to do convince me that you're going to get that culture to assimilate you. These Pakistanis, these Afghans, these Somalians, you bring them over. Then they do inbreeding. We got enough sick perverts over here in our country. You're going to bring a bunch of people over, a bunch of them married to their own siblings? We got enough of that in Hollywood, the music industry, the government. But they bring them over, and then if you say something about it, they say you got some type of phobia. Has nothing to do with phobia. It's basic common sense and decency. Why you trying to destroy your own damn country with that? You got to ask yourself, what's on their mind? What's the agenda? Because there has to be an agenda. Nobody would rationally say, this is a smart idea to bring a bunch of people over who thinks it's okay to abduct your children from your backyard. Who in the hell thinks that's okay? Because you need to be in some kind of psych ward yourself if you think that's acceptable behavior. It's insane. But yet your government does it and use your tax dollars. Not only did they steal $1 billion down in Somalia, look at all the money we spend in Afghanistan. Hell, we were still sending money to the Taliban. $43-44 million a week or something. They say they finally stopped it. But did anybody go to jail? Does anybody ever go to jail over this fraud? I'm not talking about these little small ones. They lock up for a little while. They're going to let them right out anyway because the judge is going to let them out because it's not fair, because it's their culture. When is somebody in office, because they couldn't get the money unless somebody in government okays it? So when are we going to get some of those people locked up? If we can get Cash Patel to stop worrying about his jacket after Charlie Kirk got assassinated, he's too busy worrying about those type of things. And then when you criticize it, some on the right will say, well, we don't need to criticize. Yeah, I'm going to criticize that because that's insane. There's too many foreigners over here who hate the country and they got sick cultures. And we supposed to just ignore that or be nice. Well, I am being nice. I'm looking out for the children in America because we got too many child molesters over here. The Catholic Church has done enough on that. The Baptist Church, the Methodist Church, the Pentecostal Church, whatever denomination you are, they got molesters in your church too, or your denomination. Why isn't it that more people in our society are not more outraged with the child molestation going, the kids coming up missing? Do you realize that a lot of that stuff happens in a bunch of families and the families want to be quiet about it? Because granddaddy or pawpaw or big daddy or somebody may be a pervert. And family members want to protect that. Don't you even have any kind of fear of God that you're supposed to be protecting the children? Bad enough we got it over here. You're going to import some more perverts, raise a generation of perverts, and then you're ruining a bunch of more kids, and those kids turn into perverts. If you've ever heard the story about the DeBarges, very talented group, I know it's about 10 of them. All of them can sing, write music, the whole thing, 9 yards. The father was molesting the children. The little girl, Bunny, Al, I don't know if I think he may have molested Al. I forgot the oldest one who died. He ended up molesting his kids because abuse begats abuse. And that's what happens when you don't stop it. If you know that some child is being abused and you don't do anything about it, you're just as guilty as the pervert. And anybody who don't speak up to these foreigners coming over here, you're just as guilty as they are, damn it. We need to stop this. I don't care anything about your culture. Some of this needs to stop.